I'm V.O. Cox. I'm an artist, and I have an exhibition at the Hudson Valley MOCA called The Conscience of a Nation.
What inspired the title of this current exhibition, The Conscience of a Nation?
I believe that we as a nation, we should really be checking our conscience right now. There's some things going on in this country that I thought I would never see in my lifetime. But you know, we have a responsibility to address them and to talk about these things and how things from history are still affecting what's going on today. So that's what this exhibition, a lot of this exhibition is about.
Do you feel that there is a certain piece in this exhibition that best represents you personally as an artist, and perhaps one that represents the exhibition as a whole best?
Yes, it's the End Hate Doors, I believe. I believe that 100% represents this exhibition. And personally, I believe that as well. I mean, it really does say a lot about how we're being separated now, intentionally divided in this country, and how we have been divided before, and we really need to look at that and check our history.
What does your creative process look like? Do you experience a kind of creative catalyst, like say a certain current or historical event, and then search for materials, or are you inspired by an object which then informs your artwork?
A little bit of both, actually. My creative process is in the morning. I make a pot of coffee, and I really start doing some research. I read a lot of things, and then my brain just kind of starts writing ideas down. I have hundreds of these little bitty tiny notebooks in a box, a wooden box, that it's all my thoughts, I just write down. But there's so much going on in the country right now, you really have to kind of pick your battles and go from there. I think of things that I believe simplicity is the key for one thing, and historical accuracy is the key. So I think about the things going on, I write a few notes down about that, and if I find some pieces that go along with it, I usually use those. People usually ask me about whether the pieces come first or the ideas. The pieces seem to find me, which is really interesting, so yeah.
How do you go about sourcing the historical materials in your artwork? For example, in this exhibition, the 1930s chalkboard from Stop Hate and the Civil War era cannonballs in war.
I find a lot of these pieces, especially from this exhibition from the South. I seem to find more objects down there. The pieces from the Civil War, the munitions came from Virginia, and the chalkboard came from Arkansas. Up here, there's a lot of you're much older, this is a much older region, but what I've learned is a lot of it is more furniture-based, things like that. Not all of it, but a lot more. Arkansas seems to have more of the old schoolhouse, the old mercantile store, Civil War kind of things, and so depending on what I'm looking for, it definitely is a regional search for some of these pieces.
So growing up in rural Arkansas, what was your first exposure to art? Are there any particular artists that you remember looking up to and being inspired by?
My first exposure to art was when I was 2 years old. My father, who was an engineer, was an artist, and some of my earliest photographs are me standing in front of a little chalkboard with my father drawing on them. One of them, I've got drawn some stuff and I'm eating the chalk, of course. I know. My aunt was an artist. My great-grandmother was a very good artist. The Historic Arkansas Museum there has some of her work and mine, and we were both artists almost 80 years apart. So I was surrounded by the arts, and my grandmother, who raised me, really, really encouraged the arts. She signed me up for a class at Henderson State University, which I later graduated from at the age of 10. And it was a summer program for kids. And the teacher that taught that summer class for children became my advisor and my mentor and my friend when I graduated college. And I still have that portfolio to this day. We found it in her cedar chest after she died. It's got my earliest drawings in it, and it's my most treasured possession.
Your work has been seen around the world, notably your End Hate Doors, which have been installed in numerous museums, as well as the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Do you have a favorite place to install or exhibit your artwork?
I do. The Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery, Alabama is one of my most favorite places in the world to show. The doors have been seen all around the world. They've been in numerous art magazines around the world. But I've gotten my biggest response, and I just think it made some of the bigger it's made a bigger impact in Montgomery, Alabama. It's such a historical area, and the Rosa Parks Museum, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how to get a message out, and they are just lovely to work with. So that is my favorite place in the whole wide world to show is there.
Are there any final messages you hope our patrons and the wider art community internalize after viewing The Conscience of a Nation?
Yes, in this horrible epidemic of fake news, which is what I call lies, I really hope that people will take to heart the narrative that goes along with these pieces. They are historically accurate pieces, and it really has been a personal experience for a lot of people to walk up to each piece, read the narrative that goes along with it, and to view these pieces that are historically accurate. They really have some pieces that are over 100 years old in some of them. So I really encourage people to stay on that path, be cautious, do your homework, don't just believe anything you see, and just remember the lessons that history can teach us, because we get caught up in this digital world and really we forget. It's very, very important right now that we don't do that. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's really, so far, the exhibition is going to run to September, but it's just been incredible. The response has been incredible. I've enjoyed all the conversations, which is what a lot of this is about, to open up the conversations again. Please come see us and at the Hudson Valley MOCA, and if you have any questions, I'm pretty available.